Section 1. You will hear a conversation between a student and an administrator at Quick Start Tech, a vocational training school. First, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 3. Now listen carefully and answer questions 1 to 3.
Good morning and welcome to Quick Start Tech. I'm Claire, and I'll be helping you complete your course booking form today.
Thank you. I'm really looking forward to starting the course.
Excellent. Let's begin with the basics. Could I have your full name, please?
Yes, it's Kane.
That's Kane. And I see your joining date is already listed as the 12th of January 2023.
Yes, that's correct.
Good. Now, could you tell me your passport country?
I'm from United Kingdom.
United Kingdom. Thank you. And what's your street address here in Hamilton?
It's 21 Oak Street, Hamilton.
21 Oak Street, Hamilton. Got it.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 4 to 10. Now listen and answer questions 4 to 10.
I see you don't have a landline number.
That's right, I just use my mobile.
No problem. Who should we contact in case of an emergency?
My brother, Harry.
Harry. And what's your current job role?
I'm a data analyst.
Data analyst. I see. And your previous certificate is listed as a diploma. What subject was your diploma in?
Computing science.
Computing science diploma. And for your course preference, which certificate are you interested in?
Certificate in cybersecurity.
Cybersecurity, excellent choice. And how is your course being funded?
Self-funded.
Self-funded, thank you. And how did you find out about our course?
Through Instagram.
Instagram, interesting. Finally, what's your preferred contact option?
WhatsApp, please.
WhatsApp it is. Thank you for completing the form. Let me just confirm all these details with you.
Section 2. You will hear a talk about Griffin's Bike Rentals, a new service in the town centre. First, you have some time to look at questions 11 to 17. Now listen carefully and answer questions 11 to 17.
Good afternoon everyone, and welcome to our town orientation tour. My name is Simon, and I'll be your guide today. Before we set off on our walking tour, I'd like to tell you about a great service that's recently opened in the town center, Griffin's Bike Rentals. If you're interested in exploring the area at your own pace, Griffin's offers excellent electric bikes for hire. Their weekly rental rate is £60, which works out to be quite economical if you're staying for a while. However, if you only need a bike for a day or two, they charge £15 a day. Do be aware that if you return the bike late, there's a penalty fee of £5 per hour or part of an hour. The shop is quite strict about this as they need to prepare the bikes for the next customers. When you first rent a bike, you'll need to leave a deposit of £100, which is fully refundable when you return the bike in good condition. They accept credit cards or debit cards for the deposit. If you need to carry items while cycling, they offer bag hire for just £6. You can choose either a backpack or a rear bag, depending on your preference. The rear bags are particularly useful for shopping or carrying larger items. Griffin's provides several free items with each rental. These include lights, a helmet, and a strong lock for security. I strongly recommend using the lock whenever you leave the bike unattended, even for a short time. The rental includes basic insurance coverage, but do note that you must pay the first £50 of any damage as in excess. This is standard practice for most rental services in the area. And finally, regarding payment methods, they accept payment by card only. They don't accept cash at all, so make sure you have a valid credit or debit card with you. Now, let me tell you about where Griffin's Bike Rentals is located, as well as some other useful places in the town center. Take a look at this map.
Now look at questions 18 to 20.
As you can see on this map, Main Street runs across the top, with River Lane running down from it. The library and post office are located on River Lane. Next to the grocery store on the east side of the map, you'll find the cafe corner. It's a lovely spot to grab a coffee or light meal before or after your bike ride. They open early at 7 a.m. and serve excellent breakfast options. On the southwest corner of the map is the community hall, where the town hosts various events throughout the year. They also provide tourist information and free town maps if you need them. And finally, on the southeast corner, you'll find the fitness studio. They offer daily passes if you're interested in indoor exercise options on rainy days. They also have shower facilities that cyclists can use for a small fee of £2, which is handy if you've been cycling all day. Of course, there are other important locations in the town not shown on this simplified map, such as the bookstore on Park Avenue and the train stop on Station Road, but those are a bit further from the town center. Now, if you're ready, let's begin our walking tour. Please stay together as we navigate through the town.
Section 3. You will hear a discussion between two medical students, Lisa and Raj, and their professor, Dr. Chen, about fatigue and its impact on health. First, you have some time to look at questions 21 to 26. Now listen carefully and answer questions 21 to 26.
Good morning, Lisa and Raj. I understand you've been reviewing some of the recent literature on fatigue for your research project.
Yes, Dr. Chen. We've been particularly interested in the rise of fatigue-related complaints in urban populations. The statistics are quite alarming.
Definitely. One of the most noticeable indicators is the significant increase in patients visiting clinics with fatigue-related symptoms.
And what's really interesting is the demand for vitamin supplements is rising dramatically. People are self-medicating before they even consult medical professionals.
That's right. We're also seeing increased consumption of stimulant drugs increasing among working professionals, especially those aged 25 to 40. Those are important observations. What did you think of Dr. Hamid's recent paper on this subject?
It was insightful. Dr. Hamid primarily blames long working hours and workplace pressure as the main culprits. He argues that the modern corporate environment creates conditions where exhaustion is almost inevitable.
He also mentions how people tend to ignore early signs of illness, which exacerbates the problem. Many continue working despite experiencing warning symptoms. And what about contributing factors beyond the workplace environment? Well, Dr. Hamid points to the lack of movement in office environments. Many people remain seated for 8 to 10 hours daily with minimal physical activity.
There's also the issue of high caffeine and sugar in the typical diet, which creates energy spikes and crashes throughout the day.
Excellent observations. And did Dr. Hamid offer any expert suggestions?
Yes, he emphasized the need to follow a routine and control technology use, particularly limiting screen time before bed.
I see. And did he discuss the consequences when these issues aren't addressed? Yes, he mentioned several. For example, memory fades noticeably when sleep deprivation becomes chronic.
And people act irrationally when fatigue reaches a certain threshold. Decision-making becomes impaired, similar to the effects of alcohol consumption.
Now look at questions 27 to 30.
Before we end today's discussion, I'd like to bring up the debate between Dr. Lewis and Dr. Franco regarding nutrition and its role in fatigue management. That's been quite a controversial topic in recent journals, hasn't it? Indeed. Dr. Lewis is disagreeing with Dr. Franco's nutrition claims quite strongly. Their perspectives on macronutrients and energy are fundamentally different.
I read that debate. Dr. Lewis argues that protein is less preferred by the body since it offers no direct energy boost, unlike carbohydrates which provide immediate glucose.
And wasn't there something about low-carb diets potentially causing cognitive problems due to insufficient glucose for brain function? Exactly. Dr. Lewis presented compelling evidence that the brain requires a steady supply of glucose.
I was also interested in their discussion about blood cell production. Dr. Lewis pointed out that green vegetables and red meats help produce red blood cells, which are essential for oxygen transport and preventing fatigue.
Yes, that's a critical point. The iron content in those foods is particularly important. Now, for next week's session, I'd like you both to.
Section 4. You will hear a lecture about working dogs and their significance in different societies. First, you have some time to look at questions 31 to 40. Now listen carefully and answer questions 31 to 40.
Good afternoon, everyone. Today's lecture focuses on the remarkable capabilities of working dogs throughout history and across cultures. I'd like to begin with an extraordinary case that illustrates just how significant these animals can be to human communities. In a remote village in northern Japan, there's a remarkable story that was documented in the early 20th century. A devoted Akita dog named Hachiko would accompany his owner, a professor, to the train station each day and return in the evening to meet him. When the professor unexpectedly died while at work, Hachiko continued to wait at the station every day for nearly 10 years until his own death. The story shows that dogs can be incredibly loyal, even beyond what we might expect from human relationships. This story resonated so deeply with the local community that the village created a monument in honor of the dog. This bronze statue still stands today at Shibuya Station in Tokyo and has become a popular meeting spot. The tale continues to be told to Japanese schoolchildren as an example of devotion and loyalty. Now, let's examine the various categories of working dogs that have been developed over centuries to assist humans with specific tasks. I've prepared a table that classifies these remarkable animals according to their functions, key traits, and additional information about their roles. First, let's look at farm dogs, which have been essential to agricultural communities worldwide. These dogs are typically quick and alert, able to respond to commands instantly. They assist with herding and protection of livestock, particularly sheep and cattle. A single well-trained border collie can effectively manage hundreds of sheep, responding to whistles and calls from the shepherd with remarkable precision. Next are helper dogs, sometimes called service or assistance dogs. These animals are reliable and intelligent, capable of performing complex sequences of actions to assist people with disabilities. They're often trained by local organizations or charities that specialize in matching specific dogs to individual needs. The training process typically takes between 1 and 2 years to complete. Security and guard dogs represent another crucial category. These animals are protective and fearless, willing to defend property and people from potential threats. Many can be hired via specialized training centers that provide dogs for both permanent placement and temporary security assignments, such as major public events or construction sites. Sniffer dogs have the remarkable ability to detect scents at concentrations far below what humans can perceive. They're used at airports and ports worldwide to identify prohibited substances or items. Their training focuses on developing their natural olfactory capabilities and teaching them to provide clear indications when they locate target scents. Patrol dogs, often employed by police and military units, are trained to track and detect individuals. Law enforcement agencies regularly find around 20 suspects monthly through the deployment of these highly specialized animals. The dogs work in partnership with handlers who form strong bonds with them over years of service. Finally, freight dogs are used in some regions to transport goods. These animals are friendly and hard-working, capable of pulling many times their own body weight when properly harnessed. However, they're not allowed in certain climates where the temperature would cause them distress. The welfare of these animals has become an increasing concern in recent decades. The relationship between humans and working dogs represents one of the oldest and most successful interspecies partnerships on our planet. What makes this relationship unique is the way dogs have evolved alongside humans, developing not only physical capabilities but also emotional intelligence that allows them to understand human cues and intentions. As we conclude today's lecture, I'd like you to consider how these relationships between humans and working dogs might continue to evolve in our increasingly technological world. For your assignment due next week.
That is the end of the test.